What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here today. Happy Christmas Eve, Merry Christmas Eve if you celebrate Christmas. And we got the Stanley Cup Final day of 2010 between Chicago and Philadelphia. Chicago was the number 2 seed in the West with 112 points. Philadelphia, number 7 seed in the East with 88 points. So 24-point differential between Chicago and Philadelphia. So on paper, Chicago should destroy the series. However, I think without question it was their hardest competition. This Philadelphia team was so resilient. They beat the second-seeded Devils in 5 in round 1, which is already respectable. Then they're down 3-0 against Boston, and then they come back and win that series 4-3, and then are down 3-0 in Game 7 of that series, and come back and win 5-3, 4-3, 5-3, I think. So this team, incredible adversity. Then they play the 8th seed Montreal, who they beat in 5 and shut out 3 times in those 5 games. And their new hot goalie, Michael Layden, has just been playing incredible at this point. This series was goals. Goals, except for one game. But other than that, just tons of goals. And the goalie's save percentages after the series were abysmal. But anyway, moving on. So I remember the series very vividly, every single game, because Stanley Cup Final, biggest moment in my life at some point. And I was really excited. I can still say I might have been one of the only people to see that puck go in the net that Kane shot. Okay, so Game 1. Hawks win 6-5 in an absolutely wild Game 1. Ville Leno scores from the corner to make it 1-0. He was having a good playoff, his 5th of the playoffs. Scores from the corner, right where the right where the out of bounds for the goalie is, and along the boards. He shoots from there, swings it around, it goes in the net somehow, and Flyers are on the board early. Then Troy Brouwer, 1:08 later, makes it 1-1 with his 3rd of the playoffs. Dave Bolin then, on the penalty kill, scores shorthanded with his 6th of the playoffs to make it 2-1. Scott Hartnell then, he had a really good series. Scott Hartnell then gets a power play goal with his 4th of the playoffs to make it 2-2. Then Danny Briere, who led the playoffs in points this year, scored his 10th of the playoffs, make it 3-2 going into the second. Patrick Sharp then makes 3-3 with his 8th of the playoffs, and then Blair Betts, odd name, ain't it? Scores his 1st of the playoffs. If you can see back and forth, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, 4-3, 4-4, 5-4, 5-5, 6-5. Just back and forth the entire game. And then Chris Versteeg ties it to make it 4-4 with his 5th of the playoffs. Troy Brouwer then gets his 2nd of the game and his 4th of the playoffs to make it 5-4. Aaron Asham then gets his 4th of the playoffs on a one-timer, blasted past Niemi, with his 4th of the playoffs to make it 5-5. And then in the third, only one goal was scored, and that's by Thomas Kopecky, who makes it 6-5. And it wasn't the only time that the Philadelphia goaltender would be pulled this series, as Layden and Boucher switched spots, and it would also happen in Game 5. Game 2, Hawks win 2-1, very tight game. No goals in the first, and then Marian Hossa gets his 3rd of the playoffs in that second period to make it 1-0. 28 seconds later, Ben Eager snipes it past Layden, an incredible shot and it was just an incredible goal, a great pass by Byfuglien. Eagers goes along, incredible shot, 1st of the playoffs, makes it 2-0. And then in the third, Simon Gagne makes it close with a 2-1 goal, his 8th of the playoffs on the power play. But Hawks win 2-1, and they have a 2-0 series lead going back to Philadelphia. And they had not lost a road game since, oh, by the way, Game 3 of the Nashville series. This team was incredibly hot on the road. To this point, they'd only lost one game on the road, and that was Game 3 in Nashville. So very good on the road. Game 3, they lose 4-3 in overtime. Danny Briere makes it 1-0 early with his 4th of the playoffs, and then Duncan Keith responds in the second with his 2nd of the playoffs to make it 1-1. Scott Hartnell then does it on the power play again with his 5th of the playoffs. And that first goal by Briere, phenomenal pass by Hartnell. Hartnell was falling down. He just swung it behind him and just found Briere wide open net. Incredible pass. Then Brent Sopel. Talk about odd heroes. You got Ben Eager, and then you got Brent Sopel. His 1st of the playoffs, his 1st ever goal against the Philadelphia Flyers, makes it 2-2. And then Patrick Kane early in the third makes it 3-2 with his 8th of the playoffs. So I'm thinking Hawks hold this down. They have a 3-0 series lead, and you can pretty much guarantee the cup win since they're not coming back from 3 down twice, right? And then 20 seconds later, Ville Leno comes down the ice and just scores. And it's the sixth of the playoffs to make it 3-3. Then Claude Giroux in overtime knocks it, his ninth of the playoffs. Young Claude Giroux, that is. And they win 4-3. So Hawks are up now 2-1 going into Game 4, which was by far probably their worst game of the series until the third period. Mike Richards scores early on the power play with his seventh of the playoffs on the backhand wraparound. And then Matt Carl, I have his card, but I have a San Jose Sharks card. I really remember that card. It was one of the first hockey cards I ever got. He makes it 2-0 with his first of the year, and then late in the second, Patrick Sharp gets his ninth of the playoffs to make it 2-1, and then Claude Giroux, then even later than that, about 50 seconds later, makes it 3-1 with his 10th of the playoffs. No goals were scored in the second, and then Ville Leno with his 7th of the playoffs makes it 4-1. You see a repetition here. You see Hartnell, Briere, Leno. Those three are the three big guns in the series. Then Dave Bolin on the power play gets 7th of the playoffs, and they start crawling back. And then Brian Campbell blasts one from the point, which looked like it was deflected by Taves at first, but it wasn't. And it's 4-3 Chicago. It's 4-3 Philadelphia with his first. That was Brian Campbell's first of the playoffs. And then the Hawks pull their goalie, and Keith tries to keep it in, can't keep it in. Jeff Carter skates by him. Keith can't catch him. Carter nuts the empty netter. 5th of the playoffs. Philadelphia wins 5-3. And the series is tied 2-2 going back to Chicago, where Coach Quenneville decided to shake the lines up very much so, putting Taves and Kane on separate lines, and that was the start of it. That was the first time Taves and Kane were on separate lines, and they haven't really been on the same line since I think this year maybe. I've seen them with Taves, Kane, Hagel. Anyway, Game 5, Hawks win 7-4, and they dominated the early part of this game. Brent Seabrook scores early with his force of the 4th of the playoffs on the power play. Then Dave Bolin scores his 8th of the playoffs, and Christopher Stieg scores his 6th of the playoffs to make it 3-0 at the end of the first. Scott Hartnell makes it 3-1 with his 6th of the playoffs. Kane then knots another one to make it 4-1 with his 9th. Kimmo Timonen, who was with the Hawks during their 2015 Cup run, gets his first of the playoffs with a 4-2 goal. And Bufflin on the power play with his 9th of the playoffs makes it 5-2. And then going to the third, James Van Riemsdyk. Kane was first overall in the 2007 draft. Van Riemsdyk was second. And he gets his 3rd of the playoffs to make it 5-3. Sharp then makes it, with his 10th of the playoffs, makes it 6-3. And then Gagne makes it 6-4 with a few minutes to go. And that's his 9th of the playoffs. And he was injured. So if Gagne was healthy the whole playoffs, he could have had a phenomenal playoff. They could have easily... I'm pretty sure he returned, I think I want to say game... he was injured early in the... I don't remember which series it was. He wasn't even fully healthy. He was playing injured. And then, let's see, so Bufflin with the empty netter with his 10th of the playoffs makes it 7-4. Those were 30 seconds apart, and Hawks win Game 5 and are taking a 3-2 series lead to Philadelphia to win their first cup since 1961, 49 years. To say I was excited wasn't describable. Game 6, the big one. Chicago wins 4-3 in OT and a goal hardly anyone saw go in. Dustin Bufflin early makes it 1-0 on the power play with his 11th of the playoffs. Then Hartnell gets his 7th of the playoffs on the power play to make it 1-1. Briere then scores on a phenomenal pass, phenomenal goal to make it 2-1 with his 12th of the playoffs. Then Patrick Sharp makes it 2-2 with 4-on-4, which was 2 minutes after Briere's goal, his 11th of the playoffs. And then Andrew Ladd on a Jarmelson shot, Ladd deflected it, goes past Layden, makes it 3-2. And the Hawks go into the third period with a 3-2 lead, has a chance to win the cup. About 4 minutes to go. Puck gets thrown to the front of the net by Leno, goes off Seabrook's stick, Hosa's skate, and then goes off Seabrook, Hartnell, then Hossa, and then into the back of the net. That was really bad for the Hawks. And Hossa, the joke with Hossa was that he was in 2008. He was with Pittsburgh when the Red Wings beat them in the final. 2009, he goes to Detroit. Pittsburgh beats him in the final when he's with Detroit. 2010, if he loses this series, I would say he's the most cursed hockey player ever. And just conveniently, the puck bounces off his skate, saying, "No, you will not win this cup." It was like saying to Hossa. But it's 3-3. Hartnell gets his 8th. And then in the overtime, Patrick Kane scores the goal that Announcers still wonder where the puck is in the net. Hawks win 4-3. Kane gets his 10th of the playoffs, and they wouldn't walk away with the Stanley Cup. I was 5 years old. Not even. Was I? Yeah, 4. I was 4 years old. Phenomenal moment. No, I was 5. Yeah, I was 5 years old. I don't know what I'm talking about. Phenomenal moment for me. My favorite day for a very long time, and then 17 seconds happened, and then they won it again. So my 3 favorite days. The game 6s of all the finals they've been to. So let's take a look at the stats. So the Hawks, oddly, Taves is not even in their top 5 scorers. In the series, Kane gets 3 goals, 5 assists for 8 points. Keith gets 1 goal, 6 assists for 7 points. Shark gets 4 goals, 2 assists for 6 points. Bolin gets 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. Bufflin gets 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. Taves wasn't even like the top 10 scorers. After that, you had Versteeg and Brouwer, and then there were others that were in there. Like Taves maybe been like 11th or 12th on the team, and he only had 3 assists in the series, and he won the Conn Smythe. Philadelphia, I only put 3 names up here because no one else had more than 4 points after this. Briere, 3 goals, 9 assists, 12 points. Hartnell, 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. And Leno, 6 goals, 3 assists, 9 points. Niemi was 4-2 with an 882 save percentage, so horrible compared to his last few series. He had a 949 in the last series, so that was a change. Then Layden goes 2-2 with an 876, and Boucher goes 0-2 with an 846. So Philadelphia had a much worse time than Niemi did, that's to say the least. And then the top 3 scorers for Chicago in the playoffs. Taves gets 7 goals, 22 assists, 29 points. Kane gets 10 goals, 18 assists, 28 points. Shark gets 11 goals, 11 assists, 22 points. Niemi goes 16-6 with a 910 overall save percentage. And that was the last game Niemi would play in a Hawk uniform. That's when Crawford comes in. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, Merry Christmas Eve. I'm going to be celebrating. And yeah, we'll do the 2011 tomorrow. Not a very good Christmas gift, but it's a video. Sorry about that. That's all I have for you guys today. Yeah, we got 2011 tomorrow, 2012 the 26th. And we go for another cup run in 2013. So we'll see you guys next time, and have a Merry Christmas and a good day. Goodbye.